My name is Kristina St. Pierre. I'm a registered practical nurse that specializes in addiction treatment. I've always wanted to be a nurse since I was a little girl. As I was growing up in my young teenage years, I had a very close friend who suffered from opioid addiction, and I was able to really watch the devastating effects that had both on him physically, mentally, and on his family. I wanted to ensure that whatever I did in my career, everybody who suffered from the same things that he suffered from would have access to addiction treatment. This is absolutely personal to me. I don't think that young people have a complete understanding of the risks of prescription opioid abuse today. I'm seeing this becoming an issue in high school students. It's something that young adults do to get high. It's something that young adults do recreationally. This is now a generational norm. This is a drug of choice. The types of drugs that we're seeing abused now are most commonly prescription opiates, benzodiazepines, and stimulants. People that are abusing prescription opiates think they're safe because they come from a physician. That prescription wasn't intended for them. Even if it's something that's prescribed to them and now they're abusing it, it's still not any safer because they're not following those recommended dosages. It's just as dangerous as any other street drug. When you become dependent on opiates, you need it because you have debilitating withdrawal symptoms. Think of having an extreme flu times 10 with diarrhea, vomiting, abdominal pain, shakiness, sweatiness. Eating and sleeping and personal hygiene measures are no longer priorities. Imagine you have an 18-year-old daughter. She is severely addicted to a prescription opiate. She's going to be angry, she's going to be upset, she's going to be sick. People who are suffering the effects of opioid addiction will often become reclusive. They no longer want to engage in some of the activities that they may have once enjoyed. And they become a person that you're really no longer familiar with. The ultimate risks of abusing prescription opiates is overdose. They could be alone and take extra because they aren't getting the same effects and go to sleep and not wake up. So the effects can be rapid and the effects can be devastating. Counseling helps people who are suffering from an addiction understand how to cope with the symptoms and the effects that they're feeling as a result of the addiction. They really have a chance to heal mentally and physically. Combining as many healthy resources into the treatment becomes very important. Every person will respond differently to an addiction and will respond differently to treatments. You need to consider, what if that was my daughter? What if that was my son? Have these conversations with your kids. Don't be afraid. These kinds of conversations need to be normal. What are drugs? How are they abused? And what are the outcomes? What are the risks? What can happen? The more society is able to recognize that addiction is a normal disease, the easier it'll be for people to access treatment. It needs to be treated in the same way as cancer and diabetes or any other chronic illness, because that's what it is. To watch people come in for their very first day and be struggling, be sick, be upset, be in crisis, and then shortly thereafter, they're in a place in their lives and in their career and with their families that they never thought they would be in. I love it. A message that I would like anybody suffering with an addiction to know is to not be afraid. There are options out there, and there's really great people to help guide you. Don't be afraid. This is not something to be ashamed of. We can help support you.
Get the facts and talk with your kids about prescription drug abuse. Visit canada.ca/drug prevention. A message from the Government of Canada.